Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. The Charge of the Light Brigade is a narrative poem. The poem tells the story of a disastrous military campaign during the Crimean War in which British cavalry soldiers were ordered to charge a heavily fortified Russian position. The charge was a miscommunication of orders from their commanding officer, which resulted in a tragic and futile attack. The poem is a tribute to the courage and bravery of the soldiers who followed their orders and charged into the face of death. The charge itself was a miscommunication or misunderstanding of orders from the commanding officer, Lord Raglan, which resulted in an attack. Tennyson uses the poem to criticize the blundering leadership that led to the charge, but he also praises the valor and sacrifice of the soldiers who carried it out. The poem describes the charge in vivid detail and concludes with a call to honor the Light Brigade and the noble 600 soldiers who followed their orders and charged into the face of death. Overall, the charge of the Light Brigade is a powerful tribute to the courage and selflessness of the soldiers in face of tragic and senseless circumstances. So the Charge of Light Brigade is a poem in which a British cavalry soldier charged on the Russian fortified position, but the charge was basically a result of misunderstanding or miscommunication of orders from their commander Lord Raglan. The poem first criticizes the military leadership and then praises the soldiers that they follow the order without any complaint. There are many themes in this poem, like bravery and sacrifice. The poem celebrates the courage and selflessness of the soldiers who carried out the dome charge despite the senselessness of their orders. The soldier demonstrated bravery and sacrifice. Heroism and patriotism. Tennyson portrays the soldier as heroes who were willing to lay down their lives for their country. The poem celebrates their patriotism and commitment in their duty despite the risks involved. Criticism of leadership. Tennyson criticizes the blundering leadership that led to the disastrous charge. The miscommunication of orders and poor decision making of the commanding officer resulted in needless loss of life. Irony and tragedy. The poem is marked by a sense of irony and tragedy. The soldiers' bravery and sacrifice are juxtaposed with the futility of their mission, resulting in a tragic loss of life. Glory and remembrance. The poem seeks to honor the soldiers who died in the charge and to keep their memory alive. Tennyson's repeated call to honor the Light Brigade emphasizes the importance of remembering the sacrifices made by those who fought for their country. So, bravery and sacrifice, heroism, patriotism, criticism of leadership, irony and tragedy, glory and remembrance are the main themes in the poem Charge of the Light Brigade. There are some important figures of speech which I would like to mention, like metaphor. Tennyson uses metaphor to convey the chaos and confusion of battle. For example, he describes the valley of death as the location where the charge took place. In this poem, there is alliteration. Tennyson uses alliteration to create a sense of rhythm and to emphasize certain words and phrases. For example, he uses alliteration in the opening lines of poem, half a league, half a league onward. We may find personification in the poem, like Tennyson personifies death in the poem, describing it as a menacing force that the soldiers must face. He writes, "Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell." Hyperbole. Tennyson uses hyperbole to emphasize the bravery and sacrifice of the soldiers. For example, he writes, "All the world wondered, honor the charge they made, honor the light brigade, noble 600." The hyperbolic language emphasizes the soldiers' heroism and the magnitude of their sacrifice. So this is all about poem The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Thank you very much for watching.